everyone, and welcome to Good to Great Schools Australia's webinar on how to implement direct instruction using the very tools that will drive better learning outcomes for your students in your school. Today we'll use Spelling Mastery, the most popular direct instruction program, to demonstrate how easy it is to implement when you've got great resources at your fingertips. We'll explore how our data decision-making tool can support you and your school leaders to effectively manage and use the data to improve direct instruction program delivery. And those direct instruction programs could be spelling mastery, reading mastery, connecting maths concepts, because the tools that we're going to demonstrate to you today can support you in full implementation. What you'll walk away with today is a tool that you can immediately use in your classroom and across your school that will enhance the decision-making you make about your student data. My name's Julie Grantham. I'm the Director of Schools with Good to Great Schools Australia. I'm a former teacher, head of department, deputy principal, where I've ended my career as Director General of Education in Queensland. So my whole background and life has been devoted to education. For the next 40 to 45 minutes, we'll explore how our approach empowers you as teachers and streamlines lessons delivery, but also how it can foster student engagement. So Good to Great Schools Australia is a First Nations not-for-profit organisation that has been founded in Cape York Peninsula. Our mission is to support the education of future generations, not only in the Cape, but right across Australia. We've got a wonderful team of very talented educators who work on these programs and put themselves in your shoes, but they work on behalf of you, your students, and your schools. We send our greetings to our First Nations partners all over Oceania, and we acknowledge people from all cultures. Before we get into the webinar, let's look at some housekeeping. At the end of the presentation, we should have about 10 minutes for question and answers. There's a question and answer function there at the bottom of your screen. You can use that to ask a question anytime through the webinar, but we will answer them at the end. And if we don't get to them today, if we're inundated with questions, which would be great, then we will make sure that we answer them online after. To see our presenters through the webinar, go to the top of the screen, click on View, Select, and then select Gallery View. We want your feedback at the end of this webinar, and one of the things that we always like to do is improve what we present to you, and there's a very short 5-question survey that will pop up once we complete the webinar, and we really would love for you to finish that webinar by answering those questions. Finally, to become a GGSA member, there'll be a sign up at the end. You'll be able to scan a QR code at the end of the presentation, and that will take you to the sign up screen. I've introduced myself. I'm joined today by 2 colleagues, Stephanie and Richard. So Steph, I'll ask you to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Julie. Hi, everyone. My name's Stephanie. I'm a teaching coach and curriculum developer at Good to Great Schools Australia. I have around 10 years of experience in education, and much of that time I've dedicated towards direct instruction and literacy intervention, and I've also taught spelling mastery, and now I coach schools in using evidence-based curriculum resources and professional learning programs.
Thank you. Richard, welcome.
Thanks, Julie. Hi, everyone. I'm Richard. I'm a career software engineer. I've been at GGSA for almost a year now, and I've been leading the development and support of the student progress tracker that you'll see today.
Great, and welcome to you both. And Richard, this is the first time we've showcased one of our developers, so congratulations on being first up. We're going to start today by doing a little poll, and we've been trying to do this in our last few webinars so that we can get a sense of who's online, what you've been using already. There's 3 questions that we'd like you to just quickly do a quick answer to. Are you using the current version 2 of our student progress tracker? Are you liking it? What do you like about it? What do you like most? What do you like least? But if you're not, what is the equivalent data tool that you use to track student data in your school? Because one of the things that we know is that if we're going to drive improvement, the starting point for any improvement is the data we track. So if you've got a quick minute there, if you could fill that in just so that we can see where you're coming from in terms of what you're expecting from this today, what you already experienced in that, and what your experience is in using data, and we'll know that from those 3 questions. So we'll just wait just 1 minute very quickly. We won't wait a minute because we haven't got a minute to see what the responses are. Okay, so we've got no one online, Richard. So your demonstration today is very important to show people exactly what this tracker and this tool can do when they're implementing their spelling mastery courses. And interestingly, not everyone uses a tracker to monitor student data. So this could be a very easy solution for people who are in schools that want to look at the data they capture from students and help them, and we'll show you how we can make decisions from that data that is in our student progress tracker. Okay, so let's look at today's webinar. So Steph, do you want to introduce what we're doing today?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Julie. So today we want to give you those practical, actionable skills to introduce this digital tool designed to help you implement direct instruction in your classrooms. So today we're going to show you things like how to use our data tool, how to track and monitor and improve student learning outcomes, how to enhance your program delivery, so ensuring consistency and clarity across classrooms, and then also supporting diverse learning needs, so using tailored resources aligned to direct instruction. And most importantly, you'll see how all of this is backed by our professional learning and curriculum support that we offer, and you receive this as part of your Good to Great Schools Australia's membership.
Great. And before we get into that, one of the things I'd like to talk about is the state of education in Australia. We constantly see reports about Australia's standing in the world, a declining standing. Our own data will tell us that over a third of students do not meet literacy and numeracy benchmark. And what I worry about, and having spent my life in education, when we talk about a benchmark, if we talk about a NAPLAN benchmark, that benchmark is very low. So it could, the problem that we're all facing is making sure that our students do exit our schools being both literate and numerate, and can then go on to a successful future. The other thing in the newspapers this week in Queensland in particular was all about the increasing behavioural issues and student disengagement that is evident in our school. So these conversations they're not common to, they're not just happening in one state, in one sector. They're happening right across Australia. And we think part of the solution then can be about what happens in the classroom, what happens to actually develop that effective teaching practice that can support how we address that those problems are. So we believe part of the solution is the direct instruction programs, because this program, direct instruction and its approach, has been scientifically tested right across the world. There have been trials across the world. The program itself consists of structured lessons that are engaging, that involve students throughout the lesson, so they're constantly participating. And of course, it builds in those classroom routines and practices that are a critical element, I think, of that positive reinforcement and re-engagement of students. And the best thing I think about a direct instruction program is that it makes sure that students master the content. So students are placed in ability groups where they can succeed, and then they're tested as the program is delivered to make sure they're mastering the key concepts of the delivery. And so students are not building those huge gaps in what they can and can't do. So what is direct instruction? So some of you haven't already used spelling mastery. Some of you haven't used reading mastery or connecting maths concepts. The origins of direct instruction actually start with an author, a scientist called Siegfried Engelmann. And he wanted to start out by studying how does knowledge move from that short-term to long-term memory. He developed the first direct instruction program called DISTAR, and that was a direct instruction system for teaching and remediation. And it was designed with clear, structured lessons and programs so that every student could succeed. And it was mainly then focused on disadvantaged students so that no child was left behind. That's where it started. Today, there's 75 direct instruction programs, and we're today looking at spelling mastery, the most commonly used not only in Australia but across the world, reading mastery and connecting maths concepts. I've got a recommended reading there, and this was written by Kurt Engelman, and it's Direct Instruction, a Practitioner's Handbook. And it offers a comprehensive overview of what direct instruction and explicit teaching methodologies are, as well as giving all those various strategies that we will showcase to you today that you can use to adopt direct instruction as your teaching approach. So direct instruction has an instructional design, and the key features are that it makes learning effective, teaching effective. You can see all those strategies that are listed. It builds the automaticity through repetition. The lessons are spaced and sequenced. There's clear instructional language that's given to teachers to use. So it builds on that knowledge and that practice that students are using. Again, I said this before, students can be organised into their ability level so that we know that they have the best chance of success. The learning objectives are always clearly stated, and constant checking for understanding, so that we're knowing that students can keep progressing because they're checking are they understanding what's being taught. There are embedded support for behaviour and routines, and for me, the mastery is a very important element of direct instruction. But today we're looking at the last one. How do we use that data to inform our teaching? So when students are taught with direct instruction programs, they learn quickly, more quickly than in subjects like reading and maths when they compare them to other learning approaches. For example, inquiry-based learning. So we had eminent Professor John Hattie. He did research that showed that direct instruction achieved an average effect size of 0.97, which is a very large improvement in student achievement when we compare it to other teaching approaches. When direct instruction is implemented, it increases the student success rates from 28% to 72%. Effectively, that translates to helping 44 students out of every 100 to achieve their academic goals. So struggling readers in particular who received direct instruction improved by up to 1 to 2 grade levels in a single academic year. And all that data was tracked by Professor John Hattie and is well documented. So Steph, let's talk about the tools that we can use to implement direct instruction.
Yeah, so Good to Great Schools Australia offers innovative tools to support the implementation of direct instruction, no matter what level you're at. If you're new to DI or if you just want to enhance your skills further, we've got a range of curriculum resources. So these are mapped to Australian standards, helping you to stay aligned with English and maths outcomes. And there are also top-ups and swap-outs to address any gaps. The Spelling Mastery Toolkit, which contains structured resources and data-driven insights to support spelling instruction, and the Student Progress Tracker. So this is a simple, clear way to track lessons, attendance, effort, and student outcomes, which helps you to quickly identify gaps or students or groups needing extra support, and to monitor teacher delivery as well. And this is normally a premium tool, which is exclusive to our partner schools. However, if you stick around for the end, we've got an exclusive gift for you guys for the webinar today. And here we have a video showing one of our partner schools implementing DI in the classroom.
We're going to spell them. Everybody spell half. Get ready.
H-A-L-F.
Now say the plural of half.
Halves.
Now spell that.
H-A-L-V-E-S.
Beautiful spelling. Okay, everyone spell the word wolf. Get ready.
W-O-L-F.
Now spell the plural of wolf. Get ready.
W-O-L-V-E-S.
Okay, say the word shelf.
Shelf.
Say the plural of shelf.
Shelves.
Let's spell shelves. Get ready.
S-H-E-L-V-E-S.
Good work. Now everyone We're going to spell the
So everything you see in that video, from signaling to specific praise to actively monitoring the classroom, these are all practice modules that we provide for teachers and to support you along the way. So implementing direct instruction with Good to Great Schools Australia means you're supported at every level. We provide a comprehensive special education guide to help you adjust programs for students and additional needs, free coaching sessions for up to 10 hours to help you troubleshoot and strengthen your delivery. Tailored professional learning as well, which I've mentioned. These are modules specific to year levels and programs, so teachers know, so teachers can get what they need when they need it. And for school leaders, we offer dedicated support to help you implement direct instruction across your whole school. So it's about making sure that every teacher and every student is set up for success. Good to Great Schools Australia provides curriculum mapping guides as well that clearly show how direct instruction programs align with the Australian curriculum standards. And this just helps ensure that your classroom delivery is both compliant and effective, giving you the confidence that your teaching needs are met while also driving real student growth, which is really important. And we also have our supplementary curriculum that we've designed. So direct instruction is developed in the US, and it's both a pedagogy and a scripted curriculum that's designed to ensure mastery through explicit systematic teaching. So Good to Great Schools Australia mapped DI curriculum against the Australian curriculum and identified gaps that resulted in these top-up lessons that we've developed. So we can rest assured that we are teaching and assessing the expectations of the curriculum by ACARA standards. So Good to Great Schools Australia developed these top-ups for English and maths to use as standalone curriculum to support direct instruction programs to ensure that every content descriptor is outlined in the Australian curriculum. Those needs are met. So as I said, we have this for English and maths, which can be really useful for connecting maths concepts, for spelling mastery, and it's just an additional support for teachers teaching in Australian schools. We also provide.
Before you move on there, one of the other things that, if we go back up a slide, one of the other things that we also have are swap outs. So as Steph said, American development, but when we have come across currency or measurement, there are complete replacement sections that have been developed for you to use in your classroom. Sorry, I just thought that was an important point because it's often a criticism and an unnecessary criticism of these programs, Steph.
Definitely, thank you. Yeah, so as I mentioned, we also have our Spelling Mastery Toolkit, which contains 10 tools that facilitate the implementation and continuous improvement of your spelling mastery implementation. So these are things like templates that support coaching, observation, and feedback, and how you can keep the whole school on track with data. And by establishing things like a data wall and referring to data progress at a weekly staff meeting, for example, we find that staff can really celebrate students and their own success, which is really important to keep driving that improvement. We can take a look here at some of our Spelling Mastery Toolkit resources that you receive. The data conversation form just helps guide professional discussions about student progress. So it gives teachers and leaders a structure for reflecting on what the data is showing. And what's important is you'll get that across all of your classrooms in the school. So whether it's about mastery or test results or lesson pacing or attendance patterns, for example. So these observation forms are really helpful, and they give leaders and peers a consistent way to observe that classroom practice. And we also offer a service where our partner schools can upload videos of a teacher implementing direct instruction in the classroom, and we can actually provide feedback or we can direct them towards specific practice modules. For example, they might want to practice their signaling or pacing or things like that. So we can provide that coaching support there. These are designed to be supportive, not judgmental. So it's just helping identify strengths, track improvement over time, and guide these coaching conversations. So it's about building teacher confidence and capacity, and tools that are ready to use and to adapt to your school needs. Okay, so we've talked about this student progress tracker, but what is it? So it's a tool that simplifies how we track student progress while also supporting data-driven teaching decisions. So it's not enough to just wait to the end of the term to see, or the end student completes a spelling mastery level and go, okay, how did they go? We're making decisions in real time because you're seeing after every lesson what students are doing well, what they need more support with, what have they missed out on being absent, for example. So we track daily lesson delivery, attendance, student progress, and then also their effort as well. So this identifies students or groups who may need extra support. And it also helps leaders monitor program delivery and respond to instructional challenges as well. So for educators, this is a big time saver because all of your data is centralized, which makes it easier to spot trends and take action quickly, like I said. And it's important for school leaders because they can instantly see are lessons being delivered every day, for example, or which students are falling behind. And they are consistently viewing this across all classrooms. So this is why it's normally only available to our partner schools. But as I said, we have a surprise coming at the end of this webinar if you stick around.
So that's a lot for people to take in, Steph. So what we thought we'd do now is ask Richard to come in and give you a demonstration to show you exactly how easy this student progress tracker is. So Richard, I'm going to ask you to start with the demonstration.
Thanks, Julie. Okay, I'm going to show you how to access the student progress tracker from our web portal. So to get started, you can go to goodtogreatschools.org.au to reach our main portal, and you can sign in to access the dashboard. Or if you don't have an account yet, you can simply click the enroll button from the homepage. And the enrollment process takes only 2 minutes, and it gives you access to our complete online curriculum and professional learning content. So once you've logged in, you'll see the My School Box dashboard. You can click on the side panel here, My Student Reporting, and the Student Progress Tracker link will take you to the tracker. When you enter the tracker, you'll see the school dashboard. If you're a teacher, everything will be set up for you automatically, and you can see all your classes, students, and other teachers are displayed clearly. So let me show you how the student profiles work. We capture the student's first name, last name, the year group, and from here we can add them to classes too. For your convenience, your classes and groups are shown on the sidebar for quick access. And when you click through to one of your classes, you can see how it's organized. Each class has a name, and it has a campus that it's associated to. It has the class has a lead teacher, and you can have other teachers associated to the class too, so that can help you administer the class. Within each class, you can organize the students into different groups based on their needs. So each group can follow a particular program. For example, if your students have different learning requirements, you can assign them to groups that follow the specific program. And let me demonstrate by setting up a new spelling mastery group. So here I'll give the group a name, and what I can also do is set the start date of when the actual learning will start. I can filter the programs by using the subject and the progress strand. And here you can see me select the spelling mastery D. The progress rate is already set for you, and you can add students from your class to that group. So it's very easy to set up. Once your groups have been set up, you're ready to begin tracking. You can access the tool for each group. So here is the tracker. The system includes several key sections, so attendance and progress tracking, independent work for spelling mastery, and the assessment progress tracker. So here's the independent work, and I'll show you the assessments now. that's for each assessment, you'll have a tracker for that too. So let's just go back to the attendance and progress tracker first. The attendance and progress tracking statistics at the top help you monitor the progress throughout the term, and making it easy for you to see how your group is advancing and whether they're on track. In this example, I'm just going to record that we've completed 7 lessons and that we have completed 1 assessment. I'm actually putting the effort score in for each of the students, and you can record the absences here as well. So here you can see that the weekly attendance rate is 80% and the average group effort is 5. Based on our base rate of lesson progress of 6, we've overachieved for this week. Now let's look at independent work. You can assign each of the students the results here for their independent work. And if you need to take another attempt, you can just select a different attempt and add the data for the second attempt for this particular exercise. You can save here at the bottom too, if you want to save the data. We also have a comprehensive assessment progress tracker for each of the assessments. You can enter the student scores, and the system will show you how each student has performed and provide you with an overall percentage of the students achieving mastery, which is critical for direct instruction. Here we can add a second attempt. So if you have to do the assessment again, you can just go to attempt 2 and put the data in. It will show you how that attempt did. As you can see, we capture all of this data, but data is only useful if you can analyze it effectively. So one of the best features that we have with our new online student progress tracker is the submission process. So once you've completed your weekly data entry, you can submit it directly to your instructional coach, and the coach receives a notification and will review the data and provide feedback through our comments box, which you will see shortly. So the comments from the instructional coach will appear here, and you can actually write your own comments as well for any comments that you need to make about the group, and then that will save against the group for later reference. So all of your data is centralized, never gets lost, and we're continuously updating the system based on feedback. So that's the student progress tracker. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
No questions there yet, Richard. But anyone, if you've got a question or just remember, you will get a recording of this webinar. You will be able to take this slow and slow down and look at what Richard has done. So that might help inform your practice as well. Okay, Steph, let's talk about that tracker.
Yeah, so thank you, Richard. I know the countless hours you've spent on creating this tool and also tweaking it based on, groups or teachers' needs. So looking at, we've got the data, what do we do with it? It's so important to track this data and practice tips to reinforce it. So when we monitor data consistently, we can make smart targeted decisions that directly impact student growth. So for example, if a student scores before 80%, lower than 80% on a mastery test, that tells us that they haven't mastered the content. So they should go into a small group for revision before moving on. If a student is consistently missing lessons, we might see gaps in their independent work. And in that case, it's important to pause and reteach that student, not just keep pushing forward, right? So we have schools for the schools that I coach currently asking if they should prioritize attendance or pacing, for example. And I'm going to talk about this shortly, but we have benchmarks of, if attendance is below 70%, you should reteach that lesson. However, if you have chronic low attenders, that is a case by case specific. They might have missed 4 weeks of the term and then need to redo their placement testing. So it really just it matters on the actual data, which is why it's so important to make those decisions based on your specific group needs. So a student might ace the mastery test but struggles with independent work, and that's a sign that they might need support with attention or comprehension, not content specifically. So these patterns are giving us clear steps, which is so important. Which is why it's so important to have regular tracking and discussions so we can intervene early and effectively. So this SPT helps with avoiding skipping lessons without the data. You can catch missing mastery test entries, or if a student hasn't passed their first time, there should be a second attempt recorded there too. If not, how come? This focuses more on mastery, not speed, which I'm going to reiterate for this entire webinar because it's just so important that that's what drives our direct instruction. Some of the other features that provides real-time insights across all groups. And once data is submitted, as Richard stated, it can't be changed. So it just keeps that data integrity, which is super important, and helps leadership also monitor group pacing and fidelity, which I've mentioned as well.
I think one of the things that, Steph, sorry, I was just going to say that one of the things that's really clear to me is this is not data for data's sake. This is data with a purpose that actually can translate into improved practice by teachers, but also the improved outcome by the students.
100%. And this is what we're going to look at now, a video of some of our partner schools discussing data and making decisions based on their student needs.
Other than that, they've sort of started to move on, but you've got Jason that's still scoring fairly low, but it's at 80%, so he's almost there. Who was the other one? Skylar.
Yeah, so
and Theodore. Yeah.
And Bentley as well.
Yeah. Yes. So maybe
they're my 4.
Yeah, maybe we could also look at some top-uppy type things with a CSA.
Yeah, Cochelle's in there. Yeah, definitely. We can
just to go over, maybe, or even to revise, or
absolutely.
pull them out as a little sort of separate group and just go over.
Yes, no, that makes perfect sense.
With them. Good. Excellent. Other than that.
So now looking at how to access the student progress tracker, Richard has showed you how to do it, but everything is available. Everything that he's gone through is available in our how to access guide. And this guide walks you through the exact steps for getting set up with the student progress tracker, from logging in and requesting access to getting approval and navigating the platform. So right now we have around 20 schools actively using this tool, and we're continuing to support new schools to come on board as well. So if you're interested in trialing this at your school, we can absolutely help you get set up and walk you through the process, just like we've done with others. It's a simple setup, and once you're in, you'll have access to a powerful tool that can make student data tracking seamless and actionable. So we also have the user guide for the student progress tracker. So alongside this access guide, we actually provide a comprehensive user guide, which helps you understand how to navigate and use every part of the student progress tracker, from entering lesson data to tracking student attendance and identifying who needs support. So it's one thing to just say, here you go, here's a data tracker, but there's another thing to actually show you what are the benchmarks, what do you need to do, what needs to drive your decisions to go, okay, this student has scored this, what do I do from here? So we're here to help. As you can see on the screen, there are some screenshots which clearly outlines the benchmark threshold. So things like 75% is needed for mastery on assessments, 85% success is needed on independent work, 70% group attendance. So these benchmarks are highlighted in red or green as well on the tool. So teachers don't need to guess, they can instantly see whether the students are on track or not. And this means instead of relying on instinct, teachers can confidently say this student's or the group scored under 75%, I need to reteach the lesson because they didn't achieve group mastery, for example. So it's about making choices and making the right choices, making this obvious and clear for teachers. So it's an actionable step. They know that they are making data-informed decisions to actually support the improvement of their students.
So we've gone to a few of our schools already who are using the tracker. And it's interesting when you see their feedback, the diverse benefits that they identify by using the tracker. And the students, this tracker, the student progress tracker is one that is used in all of these programs, as I said. So St Francis Xavier, interestingly, they like the improved visibility and the ease of storage on their data. And I see we've got a question in the chat about where do we store our data. St Mary's Star of the Sea from Carnarvon in Western Australia, they took comfort from the fact that their data was never changed or it didn't get lost, so they had confidence in the accuracy of the data they were using. Bluff Point Primary School, they appreciated the fact that the teaching teams could come together and make those informed decisions about student progress and discuss, what are the next steps for their teachers. And finally, St Barb's, one of the things that they really found and appreciated was looking at the mastery element and the feedback to staff, that the instant feedback, well, the students are making progress and here's the evidence of that. But Steph, in your role as a teaching coach, you would also have seen a lot of other benefits that you would have worked with your school.
Definitely. Like, I work with all of these schools mentioned here, and I know that the data discussions we do have drives their decisions. So St. Francis, for example, had a question. They had a student who completed level F spelling mastery. And I said, well, we need to look at the data and see what they're doing well and what they need further work in, because that will drive your decision to the next step. It might be that they need to now work on reading and they can move to reading mastery, or they might still need support with affixes, so they need to go to spelling through morphographs, for example. So it really depends on how that individual student is progressing and looking at the data to actually help drive those decisions. And even St. Barbara's parish, they were asking me, we're not where we need to be in terms of pacing. And I said, well, show me, the data, where are we at? And it showed that they were actually doing it well. They were prioritizing mastery over pacing, making sure that no one gets left behind, and ensuring that students have mastered actually the content before rushing over and just trying to get through lessons for lessons' sake.
So Richard, you've been working on version 3 of our student progress tracker.
Yeah, that's right. So we're continuously updating the student progress tracker with a new version launching at the end of this year. So our current version brought the tracker online with the features that you've seen today. And since then, we've been actively listening to the feedback from the teachers, the schools, and our instructional coaches who use the tool day to day. And based on their insights, we're developing additional features that will help schools focus tracking for teachers and for individual students. So yeah, some really good things coming. So this enhanced version will be released at the end of the year.
Yeah, great.
So another thing we always get asked is about direct instruction to support special education. And it's also a powerful tool for supporting students with special needs. So because it's structured, it's inclusive, and it's evidence-based, it helps ensure that every student can access learning no matter what their starting point is. So programs adapt to individual needs, and this allows students to progress at their own pace. And their skill-based grouping as well, which means students receive the right level of support in every lesson, not just based on their year level, but based on where they score in their placement testing. And it consistently delivers reliable outcomes, and even for students with complex learning challenges. And I hear about this all the time from our partner schools using spelling mastery in particular, just the progress from the students is quite amazing. So for teachers, DI provides this clear, effective strategies, and we offer ready-to-use resources, making it easier to close these gaps and build confidence and just give every child the chance to succeed.
And one of the other things that we offer, of course, is that coaching support. And this is part of our partner school membership. But we can offer you that direct coaching, whether it's in your implementation, how to administer your placement testing to get started, placing children in groups, the first time you analyse data, was the coaching needed there? So we can respond flexibly to the sort of coaching support that you need. Now, Steph does this all the time. It's her role as a teaching coach to provide this support. So do you want to just add a quick few words on that, what that support can look like, how it works, Steph?
Yeah, absolutely, Julie. And as I mentioned, it's more about supporting teachers, not not making them feel like there's something that they don't know, but just showing them things like, learning a new SPT tool can sometimes be a bit intimidating. So just helping them get set up. And then, they might have that user guide showing them the data benchmarks and whatnot, but I can actually support, and they might have a question about an anomaly or a particular student who's, they're not sure what to do with next. We get questions, I said, all the time about attendance, about pacing, or students who might have progressed to the next level ahead of the rest of their class. What do we do with those students? And that's why we say, okay, look at the data. Let's look at what they're doing well. What are their individual needs? And then we have the tiered support. So tier 1 is that entire group. You might have a group of tier 2 students who need to be put together just to revise parts before coming back to the tier 1 group. And then you have those tier 3 level students who really need that one-on-one support to get them back on track, so they're at level with everyone else. So we also provide onboarding support for onboarding to the SPT tool. So if you're ready to start using it, we can walk you through the setup and just make sure that your team feels confident.
Great. I think it's a very comprehensive offer, and I know the schools that you coach appreciate that input. Just a reminder about question and answers. We still only have one question, but if you haven't got a question, maybe you've got a comment. Is there something that you feel about the webinar, something you'd like to know more about, so that when we respond to the questions, we can do that there. But now we're going to talk and move away from that on how we actually support you as the teacher to build your repertoire of skills and practice to make sure that you are confident when you're delivering these programs. So Steph, take us through the Mastery Teaching Pathway, please.
So the Mastery Teaching Pathway is our professional development platform for educators and school teams. This is available to all of our members, and it offers certified training and coaching aligned with the Australian National Teaching Standards and School Improvement Goals. It's designed for everyone in education, from principals to teaching assistants, and it just equips them with the essential skills needed for success. So if we have a look at our professional learning modules, they are grouped by purpose to support different professional learning needs. So course modules, for example, focus on building effective teaching knowledge and confidence across all subjects. The program modules offer deep training aligned to specific programs. This provides an overview of the program, teaching practices, scenarios, assessments, and success criteria. And we have one for spelling mastery as well. We've got our practice modules, and these are our short targeted lessons to address specific teaching needs or challenges. So for example, if we did an observation of a school and we found this teacher needs to practice check for mastery or monitor the classroom or set the classroom up or practice individual terms, things like this, we can direct you guys to. And then we have our collegial modules. So these are designed for whole school teams to learn together. So this is perfect for student-free days with a focus on evidence-based practices. And then we have our Learn Effective Teaching Essentials module. So this is one example of our modules as part of our professional learning and mastery teaching pathway. It's a foundational program. So this equips educators with the tools to apply research-driven methods that directly contribute to student success and broader improvement. And we have a recommended resource here, which is the Australian Christian College wrote this blog on the effectiveness of direct instruction as well, which is a really useful read, which you guys can access after this webinar.
Thanks, Steph. And what everyone, I want you to know is that everything that you see there is available on our website and is free. So you can access that website 24/7. You can direct teachers or anyone in the team to go and look at any of those modules, any of those practice modules that Steph referenced. If they're not understanding or grasping a technique well, they can actually go and observe a very experienced practitioner who's delivering that technique. So 24/7, and I think people are always wanting to improve and build on their skills that they use in the classroom. So I think it's a great resource to have. We already have about 50% of primary schools across Australia who access our materials in some way. And if you've been on previous webinars, you've seen where we've presented our teaching guides, our student workbooks, the lessons that we've planned. Combined with the professional learning, we can present to you whole packages of work that actually reduce the workload stress and enable teachers the time to actually concentrate on their teaching and on that extra time that they can spend supporting students. So one of the things we really encourage you to do is have a look at the range of materials that are on our website, so that you too can increase that engagement of students in your school, that there's really great teaching and learning cohesion right across your school. School-wide improvement happens when people are replicating those good practices across their classrooms. Then let's look at our question and answers. So still we only have one, and Christina has asked, where is the data stored? Is it Australia or overseas? Christina, it is definitely Australia. We are an Australian-based company, and no one can access your school's data because it's compartmentalized. So you access your data, and we can look at it if that's what you request us to do, and we can support you to do that. But the data is definitely stored in Australia. There's no other questions. One of the things that I would like to stress is the importance of that this tool is not just for the teacher in the classroom, but it can also be for the leadership of the school to always know where student progress is happening, how teachers are teaching, are we getting that lift in student results that we're looking for, and if we're not, why not? So there might be something the teachers or the principal or the school leadership needs to do and to go back to make sure that we're maximising the advantage, that the investment in these programs, I'm not talking money, I'm talking time and effort, where people spend time to actually go through these programs, and make sure that they're getting the best outcome that they can. Steph, one of the other things that we get asked is, you referenced pacing. How does the SPT help that with that one in particular?
Well, the SPT kind of shifts that focus from how many lessons do I get through to how well have students understood the concept. So students are encouraged to kind of teachers are encouraged to prioritize mastery over speed. So this tracker shows lesson pacing, attendance, and achievement data, which helps leaders understand whether slow pacing is actually valid or not. So obviously we want to prioritize mastery, but if things are moving really slowly because students are maybe not placed at the right level, or there's another issue that needs to be addressed, it can really help provide indicators for those individual classrooms and what's happening. You can make decisions and shift the approach based on what the data is telling you.
Yeah. Bruce Campbell has asked, do you advocate ability grouping for spelling mastery within the year level, or all the students working at the same level? One of the things, Bruce, is that you placement test children, and the students are placed in a group where they can succeed. So some students in year 6 who may have, so they may go straight to program F, but some students might be in C. Now, depending on the size of your school and your timetable, that will enable you to make those decisions. You could do multi-levels, 4, 5, 6. You could do a straight year 6 if you're a very big school. But the important thing is that the students are placed in a program where they can succeed, where they can build on their knowledge and keep then graduating into the next program. So I can't give you a definite answer into, whether it's a year level or at the same level. For me, the important thing is that they're grouped according to the right program. And then depending on your school size, you make a decision whether you should group them across, 4, 5, 6 or 1, 2, 3, or whether, you've got enough students across year 6. If you've got 100 kids in year 6, then you know that you can create that many groups that you need to do that. Remember, spelling mastery is 20 minutes a day. So, it's a great way to, it's sharp, it's short, but it's effective. And so that's why it's so popular, obviously, and used in so many schools right across Australia. One more question. So Deborah has said, it's just popped in a question, is the Spelling Mastery program itself available on GGSA? Deborah, the retailers for Spelling Mastery are actually McGraw-Hill. But what we then support you with are all the tools. all the coaching, all that resources, all that extra material. You can buy the books, and you can work it out for yourself, or you can come to the website, have a look at that resource kit, and then automatically, just start building the capacity of the school to have a very successful implementation. So the programs themselves are book-based, and the retailer is McGraw-Hill in Australia. One more question, Steph, that I think often comes up, and what happens if a student's consistently failing a mastery test? Because obviously we've been stressing mastery all the way through. What happens if a student really just isn't grasping the content and is failing the mastery test?
Well, so this tool helps teachers flag students for targeted intervention. So if a student is consistently scoring, below that 80% on mastery tests, we recommend reteaching, moving this student to one-on-one support, reteaching and retesting. And this is why some of the feedback I give the schools are, this student has failed, but then they're continuing testing with everyone else. Where is their second attempt? And if it's consistently happening, we need to relook at that individual case. It might be a fact that this student actually needs to have a placement test done again to see what are their needs. Are they even placed in the wrong level? Maybe they were placing in level B, but now we're re-looking at it. They need to either start again or move to level A, but it just depends on their needs. And rather than just starting someone from the beginning and doing level B or all over again, what specific areas are they struggling with? So it's targeted support, which is really important.
And of course, the student progress tracker will tell you where that problem started.
That's right.
Okay, so we're here to support you, but you need to be a member of the Good to Great Schools organisation if we're able to offer that support. You can sign up as an individual member. You just scan that QR code and that'll take you directly to the sign up page, or your school can be a partner school membership. And if that's where your interest is, then you can contact us at that email address, info@goodtogreatschools.org.au. Now, one of the things that we've been saying is that some parts are only available to partner school members, but because you have been here today and because the student progress tracker is normally only for partner schools, one of the things that we want to do is offer to you that you can access this as an individual. So you don't have to be in a partner school to get this access. Now, one of the things we'll ask you to do is to check the email, fill in your form and provide your email and the email of a colleague, and then we'll grant you that free access to the student progress tracker. So hopefully, that is something that you'll appreciate, can help you get started. And once you share that with colleagues, I know that other teachers across your school will want to be able to do what you can do with your data. So everyone, I'm sorry we've taken longer today. We try to keep normally to 45 minutes, but we have a series of webinars, obviously. Many of you are repeat attendees and we love seeing that. Our next free webinar is on July the 23rd, next Thursday, where it's all about leading that positive, high expectations culture in a school. And this is one where we look for school leaders, and we've got a wonderful school leader who's a very renowned principal in a school for a long time in both primary and secondary schools. And so that will be the focus of our presentation next week. We've also got other topics coming up, our music for learning, our science on earth and space, more on the mastery teaching pathway that Steph just briefly touched on today, and other things like our 8 cycles of school practice. What are the 8 key things that have to happen in a school if you're really going to get that lift and that school improvement? So thank you everyone for attending. Don't forget there's a very short survey when we leave the webinar, and it will pop up. There's 5 questions. It'd be really great if you could just take some time to fill that in, because that's the way we improve. So thanks everyone for your attendance and good evening.